Hello, fellow classmates and Professor G. I have chosen the first option for my presentation, and I'm doing Chinese opera or 戏曲, as they call it in China. And what 戏曲, Chinese opera is musical theater, which has influenced many aspects of um, music and the history of music. And it has started from the Tang Dynasty, which was like around 700, the time period, and up until now, the modern era. So I will be getting into that for this presentation. So why I chose Chinese opera as my topic? Well, I am part Chinese. My great grandfather was Chinese, and I would like to connect to that part of my heritage through this project. Opera is an interesting genre of music and singing. Opera itself, especially Chinese, which is a different language that I do not know how to speak, it's interesting to hear and to visually see and learn about. So I'd like to get into that for this project. And it is one of the oldest art forms in the whole entire world. I'll get more into that as we go on with this presentation, but that was an interesting thing to learn. Yeah, it's since it's one of the oldest art forms in the world, obviously it is a bunch of influence. I mean, not a bunch. It has many influences across the whole world. So I would like to get into that. Okay. Key terms and information about Chinese opera. So first, there's a lot of polyphony incorporated, the complex arrangements of both the vocal and instrument parts. So vocally, there's a lot happening. There's multiple kinds of polyphony, but to name three, there's imitative, contrastive, and ritual polyphony. In imitative polyphony, where the instruments imitate what the vocal line is saying. In contrastive polyphony, um, the the melodic lines between the vocals and um sorry um the the oh sorry the accompaniment and the vocal lines, they're independent of each other, which makes it contrasting. It sounds contrasting. And then in ritual polyphony, it's found more in traditional and religious types of opera performances, where it's more complex and more layered, where there's chanting included, like Gregorian chants, similar to that. Um, Chanting, more percussion, um, and there's also whistling, and yeah. And then there's different forms of Chinese opera. There's Cantonese, Beijing, and Beijing can also be called Peking, I think, and Sichuan, and many more. Like there's around like 30 types of modern Chinese opera forms currently today. Then the percussion lead, bangu, which is small drum, and um ban, which is like a clapping drum. They act as the rhythm and the tempo, which is the conducting aspect of the opera. And in vocal techniques, singers of different forms of Chinese opera use different unique techniques in their own opera. Meaning like for example, in Shanghai opera, um they use a different dialect when speaking and singing. So someone from Beijing, if they come and listen to that opera, even though they um they're both Chinese, they won't understand what they're saying because of the dialect and how they articulate and what they say, because it's so different. Yeah. Chinese opera instruments and so on. So the erhu, that is a from the picture, it has two strings. It is bowed and it is vertical. It's a vertical instrument. It is also a fiddle. And it's one of the most common instruments that you'll find in Chinese opera, and you'll hear it. It has a distinct sound along with similar instruments to it, like the one down here that I'll get to later. But one of the most common ones you'll see. Then the pipa. It is a traditional Chinese lute, and the lute was also seen in the Renaissance era. That's a nice connection to make. It is pear-shaped and it has four strings, and it's usually used for sophisticated types of productions in the Chinese things. Then we have the jinghu. It is a Chinese two-stringed bowed vertical fiddle as well. It's in the same family as the erhu, and the only difference is that it's smaller, is higher pitched, and the sound is similar to a violin, but it's raspier. And the erhu, it's more windier, has a more distinct sound, but they're both in the same family. Now, this song is a Cantonese opera, which is another language in the branches of Chinese language. And in the description, it says that it is probably one of the most well-known Chinese operas. And basically, it is about the emperor of the Ming Dynasty has approved of his future son-in-law to be with his daughter. But in this moment, the Qing army has attacked and took over the palace. So the emperor has committed suicide, but the princess has survived. So the new emperor adopted the princess, and now there's a wedding going on. And to show the loyalty to the emperor, the newlyweds, they die on the wedding night because they don't want to be with this new emperor guy, and they're showing their loyalty to the old emperor. So it's a lot. It's heavy. It's some heavy stuff. Also, the two opera singers, they're women, and one of them is impersonating a man. So I thought that was interesting to know, and you should take a look at that video. And this is my works cited, Chinese opera, and this was my presentation. I learned a lot about Chinese opera, and I learned a lot of new things that I did not know before, and I hope that you as the viewer also learned a lot as well. And thank you for watching.